What is up guys, Ramhana1 here and welcome to another deck profile video, and today's deck profile is going to be my level 1 deck. Now there are lots of different things you can do in this deck. It's level 1 XYZs, there's a Relinquished in this deck, there's also some awesome combos you can pull off using Creature Swap. So yeah, there's lots of different things you can do within this deck using level 1 monsters, and I'm going to go over the deck profile here for you guys today. It's a really good deck. I do recommend you guys try it out after you watch the deck profile video. It's lots of fun. So anyway, let's get into it. So first off, we have 2 Vanilla and 2 Charcoal Impachi. Now we've got these monsters here, both level 1, both have really high defense, and as you'll notice, both are normal monsters. The reason we have this is simply because of Advanced Ritual Art, which is then used to summon Relinquish. We're not using Black Illusion Ritual because then you need to have Black Illusion Ritual in your hand, you need to have Relinquished in your hand, and then on top of that, you need to have another level 1 monster. And a lot of times you want to use the level 1 monsters you already have to go into level 1 XYZ monsters. So that is why we're not using Black Illusion Ritual, and all you need is Advanced Ritual Art, Relinquish, activate Advanced Ritual Art, and then send either Vanilla or Charcoal Impachi from your deck to the graveyard, and there you go, you've got yourself a Relinquish. Next up we have 3 Battle Vader. Awesome card for this deck. Opponent attacks you directly, summon this card in defense position or in attack position if you're got a creature swap in hand, and then it will completely just end the battle phase. So even if they had more monsters to attack, they can't attack now because they got Battle Vader in their way. And then next turn you can summon anything else. You can summon Kinky Boa, an Evil Thorn, whatever, and then you can just overlay them and go into an XYZ monster. Next up we have Evil Thorn. Evil Thorn is an awesome card. So you contribute Evil Thorn to inflict 300 points of damage to your opponent, and then on top of that you can special summon up to another 2 Evil Swarm monsters from your deck in face-up attack position. So yeah, awesome card. Really easy to get 3 monsters on the field using Evil Thorn. If not 3, you can just use it to get the 2 to go into any of the smaller XYZ monsters. But yeah, awesome card. Would be foolish not to run it in this level 1 deck. Speaking of cards, you would be foolish not to run Kinka Boa. This is a really good card as well because when it's normal summoned, you can special summon a level 1 monster from your graveyard, and there are lots of different things you can do with this. So you could just go into any of these normal ones like Vanilla, Charcoal Impachi, Battle Vader, Wind Up Honeybee, or if you haven't used Evil Thorn's effect yet, you can go into Evil Thorn, then use his effect to summon the other 2 Evil Thorns, then you have 3. Really easy way to get into Lionheart. Or you can go into Kinky Boa, use this effect, summon something like Wind Up Honeybee, use Creature Swap, give your opponent the Honeybee, take one of the really powerful monsters, attack your Honeybee, it'll deal a shitload of damage, get your Honeybee back, use this effect, and then if you want, you could go into a Honeybee and Kinky Boa overlay to go into an XYZ level 1, or simply you can return Kinky Boa to your hand and then use it some other time because it is a spirit monster. It will return to your hand at the end of the turn. So yeah, it's a really good card. Next up we have Wind Up Honeybee. Just a nice little card to keep a cycle going. So you can set this on the first turn. Opponent destroys it, you can summon another one straight from your deck. Maybe your opponent has a few monsters they want to attack with. Set Honeybee, they attack it, destroy it, summon another Honeybee, summon another one, so on and so forth. So it's a nice card like that. And then eventually, when you get into your next turn, you have a Wind Up Honeybee on the field, a nice level 1 monster, ready to go into some XYZ summoning. And then of course we have Relinquished. Relinquished is a beast of a card. Just quickly go over his effect here because it's a pretty old card, some of you might not remember it. But anyway, once per turn you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card. You can only equip 1 monster at a time to this card with this effect. This card's attack and defense become equal to that equipped monster's. If this card will be destroyed by battle, destroy that equipped monster instead. And while equipped with that monster, any battle damage you take from battles involving this card inflicts equal effect damage to your opponent. Awesome card. Just Relinquish has been a beast since its release, and it remains a beast to this day. As far as the spell lineup goes, we got 2 Advanced Ritual Art, as I've already explained, 3 Creature Swap, as I've also already explained, Dark Hole, nice little support card, Foolish Burial. Mainly use this for the Kinka Boa, Evil Thorn combo, summon Kinka Boa, special summon Evil Thorn from the graveyard, ditch it, summon 2, go into Lionheart, so that's what Foolish Burial's for. 3 Forbidden Lands. I so love running this card at 3. Not all decks are going to run it at 3. but in this deck I can run it at 3 and it is awesome. There's nothing better than your opponent flipping a Bottomless or flipping a Compulse or a Mirror Force or whatever, and you just flipping a Lance and be like, not gonna work. It's such a sweet, sweet combo. I love Forbidden Lance. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. Gotta get rid of those Spell and Trap cards some way. And then 1 for 1. Would be foolish not to run this card as well. Send 1 monster card from your hand to the graveyard, plus some 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. Very good card. As far as the trap lineup goes, we got 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Compulse, 2 Dimensional Prison, 2 Phoenix Chain, 2 Mirror Force, and 1 Solomon Warning. I've been running Phoenix Chain in a few of my decks lately, and Phoenix Chain is a beast of a card. Definitely worth running in a trap lineup, and that's why I have it there. So yeah, nice little trap lineup there, as well as a really good spell lineup and an awesome monster lineup. Now for the extra deck. So first off, we have 3 Downerd Magician. Now, this is a really good card. I know it's a rank 4, but basically, during your main phase 2, you can also XYZ summon this card using a rank 3 or lower XYZ monster you control as the XYZ material, and then materials attached to that card also become XYZ materials on this card. That's a pretty good card because, as you know, all the other XYZ monsters in this deck are below rank 3. They're all rank 1, of course. And it's also has an effect where it gains 200 attack for each XYZ material attached to it. So it can gain up to 600 attack, plus it can inflict piercing damage, but then every time you inflict damage to your opponent, you have to detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Downerd Magician is definitely a very powerful card for this deck, as you can pretty much overlay on any other one of these XYZ monsters and just get a pretty powerful beat stick out there to wreak havoc on your opponent. Next up, we have the new number 13 Kane's Doom and number 31 Abel's Doom. Just a quick mention, the artwork on these cards are awesome, and they're probably going to change when they get to the TCG. As you can see, it's like a little cross there. They usually change any religious marks, so that will probably be changed. But anyway, these cards on their own are pretty useless, but together are pretty powerful. I haven't really been able to pull off their effects a whole lot, but there aren't a lot of useful rank 1 XYZ monsters, and these are probably more useful than a lot of the other ones you've got, like Golden Rat, Twi Magician, things like that. So anyway, their effects are pretty much identical, and that is, once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, change all monsters your opponent currently controls to face-up attack position. Also, they must attack this card if able. So that's his first effect, and then they have the additional effect if the other one of their card is on the field. So number 13, for example, if you control number 31, and number 31's effect would be if you control number 13, this card gains these effects. While this card has XYZ material, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card being attacked. So yeah, it's a nice little card. You pretty much force your opponent to attack, your monsters stay safe, plus they take all the battle damage you would have taken, and at the low attack of 500, a lot of the times they're going to be taking a lot of battle damage. So yeah, I've only been able to pull off this combo like 3 times since I've been using the deck, but like I said, it's a lot more useful than a lot of the other rank 1 XYZ monsters you have an option of using. Next up, we have 1 number 39 Utopia Roots. Again, this is a good card, but it's one of those very situational cards. Your opponent needs to be using XYZ monsters for it to gain attack, otherwise all you're doing is negating attacks, and I would much rather go into Slacker Magicians rather than Utopia Roots if that's going to be the case. So yeah, I got 1 Utopia Roots there just in case my opponent's using XYZ monsters, then I'll go into Utopia Roots. Next up, we have number 54 Lionheart, one of the key monsters of the deck, the beast of the deck, the card you'll probably be winning most of your duels with next to the creature swap combination, of course. But Lionheart basically, I'll read this effect. This face-up attack position card cannot be destroyed by battle. When you take battle damage from battles involving this card, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the amount of battle damage you took. If this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, in either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from that battle. So yeah, without XYZ materials, you have the ability to make it so your opponent takes... with XYZ materials, you have the ability to make sure your opponent takes all the battle damage. with XYZ materials, or without XYZ materials, you're both going to take equal amount of damage. So, I remember I was playing Duel earlier today. I was playing Zexal weapon deck. My opponent had a nice Utopia out on the field, boosted his attack up to 5,000. I summoned Lionheart, attacked the Utopia, used his effect. My opponent took 4,900 points of damage and lost the duel. So yeah, as you can tell, number 54 Lionheart is a very good card. Next up we have number 63 Samoji Soldier. Just a little bit of support card really. It's not that good. I don't usually tend to go on it, and that's usually why I'm running one of them. But it's a nice little card if you're running all life points you need to gain a few. If you want to draw an extra card, feel free to. It does put your opponent at a little bit of an advantage, but it can benefit you. That's why I'm running it. And last but not least, 2 Slacker Magicians. A very good card. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. During either player's turn, when card or effect is activated that targets his face-up card, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card and negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Slacker Magician is one of those cards where most people know its first effect, where it cannot be destroyed by battle. But not a lot of people seem to know its second effect, where if they target it for effects, they're gonna get destroyed. So what they'll do, they'll target it for effects because it cannot be destroyed by battle. You're gonna detach a material, negate that effect, and then destroy that card. So Slacker Magician, very powerful card in that regard. But anyway guys, that is my level 1 XYZ just powerful creature swap relinquish deck. I guess I'll call it my level 1 XYZ deck. But it's a really powerful deck, guys. Really fun to play. It's always fun, like tackling big cards like Bloodluster Soldier, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Stardust Dragon, things like that. It's always awesome taking down cards like that using level 1 monsters. It just, I don't know, you get a little bit of satisfaction from it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, guys, like I said, that is my level 1 XYZ deck. Feel free to net deck this card, copy it down, make it for yourself. That is what this video is here for. Don't be afraid not to do that. But anyway guys, if you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a like, rate, and comment down below. Let me know what you think of this deck, and be sure to subscribe for more deck profiles. Again guys, it's from Untitled, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you for watching.